Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the podcast for exceptional people, where we hope to dive into topics, all things education, past, present, and future. We are joined today in conversation by Amy Reyes, who is an early childhood learning specialist with the Wyoming Department of Education. Um, you will be joining us as an attendee in Baltimore at CEC. Super excited to see you there. And today, amongst other things, I want a chance to talk to you about the Get Wild Wyoming initiative that you guys have going out there. So, Amy, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me today, Will. I appreciate the invite. I have been in the education field for over 25 years now. I spent most of my career as a Head Start director, and then I was a Montessori kindergarten teacher before moving into the administration side of things. I've spent my entire career in early childhood education, and knowledge significantly tanks after about second grade, but Littles is where I live.
That's fantastic. I love it. My wife lives in the littlest world too. Was an elementary SIS teacher and now is finishing up her own doctoral work in early literacy. So I
Ooh.
love the little world. Yep.
And that's a portion of my work. I work at the Wyoming Department of Education as the state early learning and early literacy specialist. I would be happy to speak to her at any time.
We'll be in Baltimore together. So looking forward to it.
Yes,
That's why
yes,
we have these
excited.
conversations. Yeah, just to try to spread the network a little bit before we get there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so getting into a couple of questions. Um, Tell us a little bit about the Get Wild Wyoming initiative and what initially sparked the interest in that.
So the program itself is called Get Wild Wyoming, and the focus is to get kids outside more. We want them to get out of their classrooms and out of their chairs. We want our kids moving mountains, and that begins by getting them out of their chairs. We want them outdoors where they're able to breathe in the fresh air and run like the wind if they want to. There's that academic aspect that comes with it, but it's more about getting them outside of those traditional four walls and into a space where they're able to self regulate through nature.
That's incredible. I love all things nature based. I love all things movement based. So this is speaking right to me. So just to dig a little bit deeper into it, did this start as a full K-12 initiative? Did it begin in a certain district because of a leader who really wanted to champion it, or how did that begin and spread?
Part of my work is the management of 14 pre-K across the state of Wyoming. I specifically manage 14 sites across the state of Wyoming in that early childhood space. And every classroom that I went into, there was these children that are just dysregulated, and they're doing their circle time, and it's the 1, 2, 3, eyes on me, that concentration and the charade of the teacher up in the front of the room and the children on the rug just pushing and shoving each other and not paying attention and doing whatnot with one another. And I said, something's got to give. We have to do something a little bit different. And so my suggestion was to take an additional 8 hours a week out of that traditional recess time or outdoor time and just go outside. So whether it's a literacy lesson, math lesson, snack time, a science lesson, whatever it is, take it and do it in that outdoor learning setting, anecdotally keep track of it from the teacher perspective, from that parent perspective, so on and so forth. And let me know if you notice any changes. It was drastic changes with the kiddos. When it comes to behavior, the parents were reporting back that the kids are going home and they're not fighting with their siblings and they're not arguing with their siblings and they're going to bed easier and they're eating their plate of food without argument, and they're just not on they're not dysregulated. They're able to self-regulate through those sounds of nature and those things that are already happening in our natural environment, and they're learning to do that themselves. So when they're starting to feel everything starting to build up inside of their bodies, they have learned to go outside, take a couple of deep breaths, look at the clouds, watch the clouds, feel the vitamin D against your skin. Okay, I'm in a better place. I'm self-regulated.
That's incredible. One thing I heard you say there is, we all know the benefits of being outside. We all know the benefits of movement. But one thing I heard you say was that the parents were reporting that when the students were at home, their behaviors, their habits were changing in a positive way. And that's incredible to hear because, we talk so much about, oh, we need support from the home, we need support from the parents to change
Yes.
behaviors in school. That focus that you're now changing behaviors holistically for the child because of this initiative in school, incredible. I love hearing that.
And the family engagement component is there as well because we're sending home information. Here's a way to get the entire family outside that includes the family pets and just silly ways to do it. And we live in Wyoming where the weather is not always our friend. And so that's the number one pushback that I get is, well, we can't go outside because it's too cold or it's too windy or the wind chills are in place or whatever it may be. And it's not a matter of going outside for a long time. It's just going outside for a little bit until you feel better. And so it's disconnecting from
That's
those
right.
devices, packing up the entire group of family members, and just going outside for even just 5 minutes, going outside and running around or yelling at the top of your lungs or whatever it is that you want to do out there on coming back inside, the entire family will be better regulated.
I couldn't agree more. I think that's fantastic. So that kind of it's a perfect lead into the next question that I have, which is, what are some things that have been confirmed for you through this work, and then what are a couple of things that you didn't expect to learn?
Well, I'll tell you what, something that's been confirmed is that disconnection from devices and how important that is. And by going outside and engaging with nature, disconnecting from those devices and doing that, children are going home and they're not asking for their devices. They're not asking to be on the phone or mom's phone or dad's phone or their tablets or whatever it may be, because as we all know, screen time's out of control for all ages. And then
Oh yeah.
preschoolers specifically, for example, are spending up to 6 hours a day on electronic devices. Whereas, the CDC recommends no more than an hour a day for those kids. So let's get them up, let's get them moving while they are in class. And then those physiological changes have this powerful impact on emotional states of both kids and parents during that time. And so I think that's something that was unexpected that just sort of came together. And what was the second part of the question?
Yeah, something you've learned along the way.
Along the way that I really wasn't expecting is the changes for the teachers. And so I don't think I considered the teacher portion of it when I started this initiative. I piloted it with 8 classrooms, quickly grew to 15, 20, 25. Now I have 175 plus classrooms that are currently participating across the state and one way or another in Get Wild Wyoming, meaning they're doing a portion of their time in that outdoor learning setting. And when I started, it was all about the kids and how to better teach them to regulate themselves. And teachers are reporting back saying, I'm a better teacher for going outside more, because a lot of times those pre-K classrooms are in dark, dim lit, dingy basements of wherever it may be, and so on and so forth. And so the teachers are going outside and they're able to feel the wind against their skin and hear the birds chirping and all these things. And guess what? In an outdoor learning setting, you don't have to say, stop yelling, stop running, whatever it is. If I'm trying to do a literacy lesson and little Johnny's over here jumping on one foot and little Susie's dancing around in circles over here, I don't care, because you're
Yeah,
still paying attention to what I'm saying, but you're just listening to your body and moving accordingly.
that's
So I
right.
don't think I
You're
considered the
engaged.
teachers. Yep,
You're engaged completely. You're just doing it in your way.
exactly. I
Um,
told somebody the other day, I said, she goes, I know, but like if we don't do circle time, because I'm a major proponent of like Xing circle time completely and the rugs completely. The presentation that I do is actually called "Let's Get Off the Rug and Jump into Outdoor Learning," because I just despise the concept of circle time anymore. And she said, well, if I don't do circle time, how will I get their attention? And I said, here's what you do. You play hide and go seek. And instead of counting, you do some letter sounds in the meantime. So if you're doing letter A, and instead of counting, you're doing apple, apple. Guess what? They're fully engaged with their ears, even if you don't have their eyes. Nobody's paying more attention than the kid that doesn't want to be caught during hide and seek. They're fully engaged, paying attention to you, even if their eyes aren't on you. And she's like, oh my gosh, that absolutely makes sense. Bingo.
yeah, yeah. That kid who doesn't want to be found can hear a pin drop from the teacher all of a sudden.
Exactly.
That's really cool. Yeah, I hadn't considered that so much about the teachers because you do like some people don't want to go outside just simply because of the bugs, right?
Hmm.
Or so forget pedagogically the circle time and losing those instructional things. How did you address and how did your teams address like I just don't want to go outside or I don't subscribe to that philosophy?
We're really lucky to live in Wyoming and in a place where we have this beautiful setting in our backyards, typically of our schools, but some of them don't. And so some of them, it's just a parking lot. And there's still a way to do outdoor learning, even if you just have a parking lot. You can go out there and you can count the red cars, and you can graph the red cars in the parking lot and how many trucks versus how many cars. And we can do a whole lesson on that, or we can go outside and let's measure how many cars are pulling in a certain length, whatever it may be, whatever silly thing it may be, even if it's just a parking lot. And so, like I said, the biggest thing in Wyoming that we're up against is the weather. But there's really no such thing as bad weather. It's bad clothing choice and the bad energy that comes from the teachers that don't want to go outside because it's cold. And I'm born and raised Wyoming girl. I don't like the cold, but I still force myself to get up and take a walk every afternoon, no matter what the weather's like. Yes, it's shorter because I don't want to freeze, but it's always the weather for us. And so I just tell them, if you are really enjoying it, even if you're absolutely miserable, if you're acting like you're really enjoying it, the kids are going to enjoy it more. So put on that smile, force that energy, and let's go.
Yeah, that's right. We're the cheerleaders. We celebrate.
Yep.
Man, I love that. I love it so much. How much snow is on the ground right now in Cheyenne?
Actually, surprisingly, there isn't any snow on the ground, but we had 85-mile-per-hour winds yesterday. So I think all the snow that was on
Nope.
the ground is now in Nebraska.
Nope. No, thank you. No, thank you. All right. I can't imagine that there would be any skeptics for this, but I'm also a person that loves, I'm a mile and a half from the James River here in my backyard. So, but in front of a panel of skeptics, what's going to be the first point that you make to bring them on the team?
This is a simple solution to those behaviors that are in the classroom without buying a new curriculum. You don't have to franken piece another curriculum and piece together, a behavior curriculum along with this, and so on and so forth. This is a simple solution that doesn't cost anything. Take what you were originally going to do, take it outside, let your children in your classroom sit wherever they want to sit. So if they don't like to feel the grass, some of those children don't like the
Mm-hmm.
feeling of sitting on grass. So get carpet remnants donated from
Mm-hmm.
Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever it may be. Have them bring a little blanket from home. Some of them like to sit and pluck the grass underneath them. And so try it. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. It's sustainable, because that's the number one thing that we see in classrooms is we're going to choose another curriculum that's not going to land, and then we're going to have wasted the money, wasted the time and energy going into it. We're going to scrap it in a couple of years. It's not sustainable. This is sustainable. It doesn't cost anything, and it's something you were already going to do anyway. So why not try it to combat those behaviors?
Right. And it's fun. Go play.
Exactly. And you'll be better for it as a teacher. I promise.
I could not agree more. All right. So, unfortunately, there's not going to be a half a day presentation for me to listen to you talk about this more in Baltimore. But what message are you bringing to Baltimore? And as we wrap up here, what do you hope that people walk away from, speaking with you and learning more about what's happening here? But specifically to Baltimore, what message are you bringing and what do you hope people leave walking away from you with?
I hope that people understand that it doesn't cost a lot of money to do outdoor learning. So embrace it, but embrace the the idea of just picking up, get a backpack, put whatever lesson you're going to do into that backpack, go outside, do it out there. Doesn't cost anything. It's just a little bit of your time. And although minor inconvenience to make the walk out to the parking lot or the river that's behind you or wherever it may be, it will be worth it, and the kids will gain more knowledge and more information from that lesson than the one where they're just sitting in the classroom and half of them have tuned out about 15 minutes into the lesson anyway. And get off the rug.
Get off the rug, get off the phone, It would be
Yep,
nice for one of the speakers actually to kind of notice their audience is fading a little bit. And you know what? Hey, the Inner Harbor's right over there. We're gonna go take a walk, everybody.
that's what I do when I do my presentation. I read this really really long. I put it in my PowerPoint presentation. I read this like really long word for word PowerPoint, and I'm like, and did you enjoy that? And you can tell everybody's starting to fade. And I'm like, that's exactly what circle time is like for those kids. Did you enjoy that? No, they don't enjoy it either.
That's incredible. Amy, it has been just really cool getting to know you over the past couple of days and speaking with you here. I'm blown away by your initiatives there. I don't know that Wyoming's for me. I was raised in South Carolina and here in Richmond, Virginia, we've got a little bit milder climate. But what you're doing there is clearly reaching students, reaching families, reaching teachers, and it's awesome. And thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you very much. Remember to get wild, everybody.
That's it. And get off the phones, get off the carpet, right?
Exactly. Get off that rug and jump into outdoor learning, folks.
Get wild. I love it. Amy, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in Baltimore.
Thanks, Will.